She begged him for $50 to refill her insulin prescription. He told her money was tight. That same week, she saw another woman driving a brand new black Lexus with a red bow on it. That was the moment everything changed for her. Elena had been with Bryce for 7 years. Through his job losses, late rent, and every struggle, she stayed by his side. She believed in him. He made her feel like they were a team, like they were building something real. But behind his kind words and tired smiles, he was hiding something. Eleanor was chronically ill and needed insulin every day just to stay alive. When she asked him for help, he acted stressed, said they had nothing to spare. She trusted him. Then she saw the photo online. A younger woman stood smiling next to a black Lexus. Her arms were raised, and the caption read, "Thank you, baby." The car looked fresh from the dealership, still wrapped with a huge red bow. Elena froze. That car was bought just days after he said he couldn't help her with her medicine. Her stomach dropped, but she didn't scream or cry. She stayed calm. She started checking everything: bank accounts, credit card statements, receipts. Things didn't add up. Money was disappearing. Charges appeared for stores she never visited. Then she saw the name, Tasha. That was the woman in the photo. Tasha wasn't just someone he knew. She was the one he bought the car for. While Eleanor had been counting every dollar, he had been spoiling someone else behind her back. But Eleanor didn't show her pain. She smiled when he came home. She made his favorite dinner. She asked about his day and listened to his lies. Inside, though, she was already planning something sharp and cold. He had lied to her, risked her health, and betrayed her trust. He gave everything she needed to another woman who didn't even know the truth. But Elena wasn't going to walk away quietly. She wanted him to feel what she felt. Not just heartbreak, but consequences. This wasn't over. For her, it was only the beginning. Elena had been with Bryce for 7 years. When they first met, he didn't have much. He was still in school and working part-time jobs that barely paid the bills. Elena believed in him. She thought he just needed support and time. So she gave him everything she could. She worked extra hours, skipped buying things for herself, and even used her savings to help him with his tuition and student loans. She put her own dreams on hold. She wanted to go back to school and start her own small business, but she kept saying, one day. Every time something came up, car repairs, late rent, job loss, she stepped in to help. When Bryce lost his job, she was the one who paid the bills. When he was too stressed to look for work, she encouraged him, made his favorite meals, and told him not to give up. She thought they were building a future together. One time, when they were about to be evicted, Elena did something she never thought she would do. She sold her grandmother's gold jewelry to pay the rent. Those pieces meant everything to her. They were the only things she had left from her family, but she told herself it was worth it. She loved Bryce, and she believed he would do the same for her if the roles were reversed. As the years went by, things changed. Bryce finally got a good job, and for a short time, Eleanor felt proud. She thought all their hard work had paid off. But instead of being closer, he started pulling away. He stopped saying thank you. He stopped noticing her at all. He began to criticize her. He said she was too emotional, always tired, and needed to take better care of herself. He made fun of her clothes, her hair, and the weight she had gained from her illness. When she tried to talk to him, he brushed her off. He said she was just being moody or dramatic. He made her feel small, like her feelings didn't matter. Eleanor started to wonder if she was the problem, but deep down, she knew something wasn't right. So she began writing everything down. Every time he snapped at her, every lie, every strange excuse, she recorded it in a notebook. At first, it was just for herself, to understand what was happening. But as the pages filled, she realized she was collecting proof, not just of how he treated her, but of how long she had been ignoring the truth. She had given him 7 years of love, time, and sacrifice, and now she was starting to see how little it meant to him. One night, Bryce told Elena he had to work late, something about an important meeting, but something didn't feel right. He had been acting strange for weeks, always on his phone, always making excuses, so Elena decided to follow him. She waited until he left, then took a taxi and stayed far enough behind so he wouldn't see her. He didn't go to the office. He drove to a quiet neighborhood and parked in front of an apartment building. Elena watched as he walked inside like he belonged there. She waited for over an hour. The lights in one of the windows came on. It wasn't just a quick visit. He was staying there. Later, she checked the address. To her shock, the apartment was being paid for under her name. Bryce had used her information to rent it. She felt sick. But instead of confronting him right away, she went online and searched for clues. That's when she found Tasha. Tasha was younger, always posting pictures of her outfits, food, and expensive gifts. She had no idea Elena existed. One post showed her standing in front of a black Lexus with a red bow. "Thank you, baby," the caption read. Elena stared at the screen, shaking. It was the same week she had begged Bryce for $50 for her insulin. She didn't leave a real comment, just an anonymous one. Hope it was worth it. Then she started collecting everything. She saved screenshots of Tasha's posts, especially the ones showing gifts. She checked their locations and matched them to where Bryce had said he was. She looked through his email, bank notifications, and GPS data on his phone. Everything lined up. Eleanor wasn't just sad anymore. She wasn't confused. Now she was focused. She had given Bryce her trust, her time, her money, and he gave another woman everything she needed to survive. So she built a folder, screenshots, messages, bank charges, GPS records, even photos of him entering the second apartment. She wasn't going to cry about it anymore. She was getting ready. Eleanor wasn't planning a fight. She was planning something smarter. She wasn't just a heartbroken girlfriend. Not anymore. She was building a case. Elena acted like nothing was wrong. She smiled at Bryce, cooked dinner, and even thanked him for being so patient with her illness. He had no idea she knew the truth. He didn't know she had followed him or found the apartment. He didn't know she had seen the pictures of Tasha with the black Lexus. Elena kept her face calm, but inside, she was preparing something big. She started by installing spyware on his laptop and phone. It wasn't easy, but she figured it out. She could now see his emails, texts, and even where he went using GPS. Every day, she collected more proof. She saved copies of messages, receipts, and bank activity. Bryce was still lying, but now she had his lies in writing. Next, she told him they should open a joint account. She said it would help them plan better, especially with her medical needs. Bryce agreed without thinking. He thought he was still in control, but Eleanor was watching every transaction he made. She saw payments to expensive restaurants, online shops, hotel bookings, all things he said he couldn't afford. Some charges were in cities he claimed to have never visited. Eleanor also started quietly reaching out for help. She messaged an old college friend who was now a lawyer and asked general questions about fraud. She didn't mention names at first. She asked another friend who worked in insurance how certain claims worked. Slowly, she gathered advice without raising suspicion. No one knew the full story yet. She was careful. She didn't want anything to ruin her plan. One day, while checking her insurance account, Elena saw something strange. A large claim had been processed under her name. She didn't remember having any procedures. When she looked deeper, she found out it was for cosmetic surgery, lip fillers, skin treatment, and a few other things. It had been billed using her insurance, her name, her coverage. Elena felt cold all over. She called the clinic pretending to be confused. They gave her just enough information to confirm what she feared. The patient had used her ID and detail. The date matched the weekend. Bryce said he was visiting his cousin. Tasha had gotten the surgery. Bryce had paid for it, with Elena's insurance. That was the moment Elena knew this wasn't just betrayal. It was fraud. It was theft. And it was personal. Bryce hadn't just cheated. He had used her name, her health, and her trust to give another woman luxury. Elena closed the laptop slowly. Her hands were steady now. The trap was almost ready. She just had to wait for the right moment to snap it shut. She moved quietly, with a plan already in place. The joint savings account they shared was the first step. Without saying a word, she transferred all the money into a new account under her name. Most of it had come from her own work and savings. It was legal, and it was hers to take. He never expected her to act. He thought she was still blind. Once the money was safe, she sent an email to his company using a fake name, attached with screenshots, receipts, and proof that he had used the company credit card for personal gifts, expensive dinners, hotel bookings, and even a payment on the black Lexus. She knew his company had strict rules. They would take it seriously. Then came the part that hurt the most. She contacted the health insurance provider and explained how her name had been used for cosmetic treatments she never received. She sent the clinic documents, proving someone else used her ID. She also went to the police and filed a report. Fraud was a crime, and now he had committed it using her name. She wasn't going to let that slide, but she wasn't finished. She took every piece of proof, photos, texts, bank logs, screenshots, and wrote everything out in detail. Then she posted it all on a popular cheating confession page. She didn't share her identity, but she told the story exactly as it happened. The begging for $50, the car with the red bow, the second apartment, the lies, the surgery. Every part of it was real, and she made sure people saw the truth. The post went viral overnight. People flooded the comments with support, shock, and anger. They shared the post again and again. Some found his public accounts and started exposing him by name. He tried to delete things, but it was too late. The screenshots were everywhere. The damage was done. She didn't reply. She didn't need to. He had spent years using her love, her money, her trust. Now, with one move after another, she had taken it all back. She wasn't the broken girl he thought she was. She was sharp, calm, and finished being quiet. And this time, he was the one left with nothing. She walked into the salon quietly, dressed in plain clothes and carrying a folder in her bag. Tasha was sitting near the mirror, talking with a stylist and laughing. She didn't recognize the woman watching her. That was the plan. A few minutes later, they ended up seated beside each other under the dryers. She turned to Tasha and gave a small smile. They talked about hair, the weather, little things. Tasha was kind, polite, and didn't seem to know anything. It almost made her feel bad, almost. Then, when the timing felt right, she leaned in and said softly, "He told me you were nothing serious, just someone he saw for fun." Tasha's smile faded. "Excuse me?" She pulled out her phone and showed a photo. One of Bryce, kissing her on the same day he told Tasha he was away for work. She stayed calm. No anger, no yelling, just the truth. She spoke clearly and slowly, laying it out without emotion. The words hit like ice. "He said you didn't matter. He said you were too young to notice things, called you arm candy, said you'd never ask questions." Tasha looked shocked. Her hands started shaking. She didn't say anything at first. Without making a scene, she placed the folder on the table between them and stood up. Inside were printed screenshots of messages, transfers, and proof of his word. It was everything she had collected, just the parts that mattered to Tasha. She didn't wait for a thank you or a reply. She just looked at her once more and walked out of the salon, leaving the folder behind. The next morning, Bryce's online life exploded. Tasha had broken up with him publicly. She posted her own story with photos, videos, and the documents she had been given. People believed her. Her followers turned on him. Friends stopped talking to him. He tried to lie, but no one cared anymore. His name was everywhere for the wrong reasons. She didn't reach out to Tasha, and Tasha didn't call her. But something strange happened. A few weeks later, she saw a message request. It was from Tasha, just a short note. "Thanks for not yelling. You were right." She replied with one word, "Take care." They never became friends, but there was something like peace between them. They had both been used, lied to, and hurt, but only one of them had stayed blind. The other had opened her eyes and helped the truth come out. News spread fast. People at his workplace began whispering behind his back. Managers stopped trusting him. He was called in for a meeting he didn't expect. After reviewing his actions, they let him go. No warning, no second chance. Just a final paycheck and a box to pack his things. Calls he used to get every day stopped. Friends he partied with didn't answer his texts anymore. Some blocked him. Others made jokes about him behind closed doors. He noticed people turning away when they saw him. No one stood up for him. His name, once respected, now came with shame. Without a job, paying bills became harder. He missed rent. Warnings turned into final notices. One morning, he came home and found a note on the door. He had to leave. The apartment wasn't his anymore. There was nowhere to go. The car that once made him proud didn't stay for long either. Late payments caught up with him. A tow truck arrived and drove it away, while neighbors watched from their windows. He couldn't stop it. He didn't even try. While he struggled, she stayed silent until she chose to speak to people who deserved to hear the truth. His parents had always believed him. When she cried in front of them years ago, he said she was dramatic. When she got sick, he told them she was lazy. They thought she was the problem. They had no idea what really happened, so she visited them. Calmly, she showed messages, papers, and records. She didn't cry. She didn't yell. She just told the truth. Slowly, they started to understand. The man they thought they knew was not the one standing in front of them all those years. He had twisted everything. They sat in silence after she finished. His mother's eyes filled with tears. His father looked down, unable to speak. When they finally responded, they said they were sorry for not listening, for judging, for believing lies. She didn't smile, but she nodded. Not long after, he tried reaching out, first a text, then a message through a friend, then a letter left at her door. He said he made mistakes. He asked for a chance to explain. He said things were different now. She didn't answer. She didn't need to. Every bridge he burned stayed in ashes. What he lost could not be fixed. And the one person he thought would always be there had walked away, stronger than ever. Days became quieter. Without constant arguments and pain, her body began to feel lighter. Sleep came easier. Her chest didn't hurt as much. The sickness that once took over her life slowly faded. With peace, her strength started to return. She had time now. No more checking phone messages with fear. No more walking on eggshells. She used the silence to build something new. From her small apartment, she turned her skills into work. It wasn't big at first, just simple projects. But word spread. Clients were kind. Payments were fair. She didn't need to beg anyone for help anymore. As her confidence grew, so did her dreams. She packed a small bag and booked a trip. Just a short one. A new city, a fresh place, no memories of the past. She walked through busy streets with a camera around her neck and a notebook in her hand. Each day felt like she was learning how to live again. During a quiet evening in a cafe, she opened her laptop and began typing. Not everything, just the parts that mattered. She gave herself a fake name. She didn't want attention. She just wanted to speak. Her words were simple and true. She shared how people can lose themselves in love and how they can find their way back. The post got attention. Someone shared it. Then someone else. Within days, it reached pages that helped women speak up. Her story landed on a well-known blog. They didn't know her real name, but they felt her pain. Soon after, she was invited to tell more. Her words were read on podcasts. She never showed her face. Her voice came through writing. People began to write back. Messages came from strangers in different countries. Some were still trapped in bad situations. Others had walked away, just like her. They said her story made them feel less alone. They said it gave them courage. She didn't call herself brave. She didn't think she did anything special. She just told the truth. Life was still hard sometimes, but now it was hers. She set her own hours. She chose who to speak to, where to go, and how to heal. The hurt didn't fully leave, but it no longer controlled her. What began as pain had turned into power. Quietly, she helped others stand. And with each word she wrote, she reminded herself she was free. An email arrived in her inbox late at night. The name was familiar, but she didn't feel anything when she saw it. She waited a moment, then opened it. It was long, too long. The words were messy, full of blame. He called her ungrateful. He said she ruined his life on purpose. He claimed she never supported him, never understood him. He wrote like the past had been perfect, like nothing had ever happened. He didn't say sorry, not once. Instead, he tried to make her feel guilty. He said she talked to others just to hurt him. He wrote that no one would believe her if she didn't twist the truth. He even called her cold for cutting him off. She read the whole thing once, slowly, then again, faster. And then she made a choice. She removed his name and private details. Then she shared the email, just the words he had sent. No added notes, no edits, just the truth as he wrote it. People didn't stay quiet. Readers could see the lies. They could see how he twisted everything to look like the victim. The same old tricks, turning the blame around, playing innocent, pretending to forget what he had done. Comments poured in. Some were angry, some were sad. Many shared their own stories, but all of them saw through him. They stood with her. She waited a few days. Then she typed a short reply. Just one sentence. I needed $50 to live. You chose a car to impress someone who didn't know you. That was it. No extra words. Nothing more was needed. She closed her laptop and walked outside. The sky was calm. She felt light, like the last heavy stone had been lifted. The message didn't hurt her, not anymore. It just showed how little he had changed. She didn't feel hate. She didn't even feel sad. She just felt done. He had made his choices. Now, she was making hers. She sat on a quiet beach in Mexico with her coffee in hand and her laptop closed beside her. The air was warm, and the calm sounds around her made everything feel still. There was no noise, no rushing, no one asking anything from her. She had nothing to hide, nothing to fear, and nothing left to prove. Her phone lit up with new messages. She picked it up and read each one slowly. They were from people who had read her story. Some shared their own pain. Others simply thanked her. They said her words gave them courage. They said they felt seen for the first time. She didn't answer every message right away. Some didn't need answers, just someone to listen. She had written her story not for attention, but to tell the truth. The truth had spread far. It had helped people she would never meet, and that was enough for her. She didn't think about him anymore, not with anger, not with sadness. What he had done was part of the past. He had taken enough of her time, her strength, and her heart. Now she gave none of it to him. He couldn't touch this new part of her life. She had left everything behind, the lies, the excuses, the waiting. She had made a new space for herself, far from the mess he caused. It was quiet, clear, and hers alone. She had learned to build again, not from what he gave her, but from what she found inside herself. Each step had been heavy at first, but every day brought more lightness, more freedom. Now, she smiled without trying. She breathed without pain in her chest. She trusted her voice again. The one he tried to silence was now helping others speak. People who read her words understood something real, not just about heartbreak, but about strength. They saw what it looked like to walk away and not look back. She looked out at the sea, feeling no fear about the future. She had walked through fire and come out strong. Her silence didn't mean defeat. Her calm didn't mean she had forgotten. He had a choice once, and he made it. He couldn't spend $50 to keep her alive, so she spent everything she had to make sure he never forgot it. Do you think she did the right thing by walking away and making sure he faced the consequences? Or do you think she should have handled it differently? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you want more stories like this one, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update.